Time for some more kitchen table astronomy with Hampshire College's John Moore and the head of Kainaat Studios, Mr. Universe, Dr. Salman Hameed at your Amherst kitchen table. There's a big Amherst show on the show today where we're going to be at the Wildwood Cemetery talking about the sculpture there. We're going to be at your other place of a lot of time and volunteerism, Amherst Cinema, talking about the Sound and Vision series with George Myers. But we are going to, speaking of movies, you being associated with Amherst Cinema, we're talking about Betelgeuse. Betelgeuse 2!
And just say it twice, okay?
Oh, now I've said it twice.
No, now you... Okay.
We're in big trouble, but...
So we have talked about Betelgeuse more recently because there was this dimming that happened a few years back. And, of course, Betelgeuse is a star in the constellation Orion, a very prominent star. So if people know, in the wintertime, you have the Orion, the hunter, and one of its shoulders is a big yellowish, orangish star, and that is Betelgeuse. But one of the key things, the reason why people are interested in there, apart from the fact that it looks really cool,
And the Michael Keaton movie.
is the fact that this is a red supergiant, which is going to explode as a supernova. We know that. We know its fate. It's going to be much more spectacular than the end of our sun. And it is going to happen within the next, say, 100,000 years.
So it could happen now.
So it could have...
Or very, very far from now in the entirety of human recorded history now.
That's right. But it could... But let's not lose sight of the fact that it could be tomorrow. Or actually, I hope not, because we want to be in the wintertime so that we can see it.
Yes, right.
Hopefully in there. But so it can happen, or it could wait, for tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of years. But when it will happen, it will be a spectacular sight. So people are really interested in it. This is really a giant star.
Wait, let me stop you here, though. How far away is Betelgeuse again?
This is about 650 light years away.
So it already has gone supernova.
Okay.
But we can't see it yet until the light reaches us, and we don't know when that time will be. Isn't that the coolest thing?
Yes, but I want to be consistent about things. When
Okay.
I said tomorrow, what I mean is that it might have happened 650 years ago, and its light reaches us tomorrow. Because for us, we are just bound by the fact that light, when it reaches us, that is when we get the information.
Right.
So otherwise, we will have to keep on saying, for example, our sun is 8 light minutes away. So he says, hey, what's going on in the sun? Well, I don't know, because for the next 8 minutes, we will not know. So so in that context, it is about 600 light years away, which is relatively close from astronomy scales, because even in our galaxy, the center of the galaxy is 30,000 light years away, and let alone sort of Milky Andromeda galaxy and other galaxies far, far away. But here is the thing. This star is gigantic. But its radius is 700 times bigger than our sun.
Whoa.
And in fact,
And 1 million Earths fit inside our sun. So put it in that perspective.
And if you put it in the place of the sun, if you replace our sun with Betelgeuse, its atmosphere is going to extend all the way to the asteroid belt.
Wow.
And so... Which is between Mars and Jupiter. So you have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. They will all be orbiting inside of it. And that is one of the reasons we think this was a star that was about 15 times more massive than our sun. And towards the end stage, it has expanded. It has gotten bigger. And now we are waiting for it at some point to explode. And its lifetime is around 10 million years, which is very young if you think about it, but it already has reached the end of its life. Our sun, which is much smaller in terms of its mass, has lived about 4.5 billion years, and it's going to live for another 5-6 billion years before it becomes another end stage, which is called a white dwarf, a core that is left off the size of the Earth.
Boring.
Yes, I think that is correct. But Betelgeuse is going to go supernova, and it's going to be spectacular, especially if there are humans around to look at it. That would be quite spectacular. It would be visible during the daytime, for example.
It'd be that bright.
Oh, it would be. This would
For
be
how long?
probably for a couple of weeks. And so that so all of that stuff is great. That's the reason why there is a lot of excitement about it. And a couple of years ago, some people may remember that there was a lot of discussion about the fact that the brightness of Betelgeuse had gone down. It had dimmed a little, and people were wondering, wait a minute, why? And I mean, is it going to go supernova now? There was a lot of excitement about it, maybe. But as it turns out, well, no, that was just the star Betelgeuse had burped a little, and it had ejected some dust cloud, and it had blocked the light that was coming from it. And so, no, it wasn't because of that. However, at the time, there were other speculations that coming in. Well, I mean, is there something weird going on? Maybe it has a companion star. And people actually looked for it, and they didn't find it at that time. But now, just recently, this month, in fact, actually last month, July, there was a paper that came out that actually has now definitively shown that there is a companion star to Betelgeuse.
Beetlejuice 2. Oh, overrated. Probably didn't need to make it. Wasn't terrible. Could have been worse. Haven't watched it since it was in the movie theater.
Well,
I've watched original Beetlejuice so many times.
Right. Well,
I can quote it like chapter and verse.
So this particular star, the reason why astronomers suspected that it may have existed was because Betelgeuse does vary in brightness. And a lot of stars do, but Betelgeuse itself has a very regular 400-day cycle of dimming and brightening. And then there is a second cycle on top of that 400 days, which is about 6 years. And so people try to understand why is there a particular cycle of dimming in brightness? 400 days was most understandable, but the 6-year one was a little bit unclear why it happens. And one of the ideas was that perhaps it is because of this star that comes close to it, and then we see a little bit brightening of the two things, and that's why it becomes brighter because of this companion star.
Uh-huh.
And now astronomers have used a telescope in Hawaii. It's a Gemini North telescope. It's one of the largest telescopes in the world, and they actually manage to image that companion star. It's very hard to do that because this companion star, as it turns out, is actually not that far from Betelgeuse. In fact, from the main star. In fact, it's about 4 times the distance between Earth and the Sun. And they managed to do it because at this time, it was at the farthest elongation from it, like last year, in fact, when they did the imaging, and they managed to detect it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as we have talked about it, that the Betelgeuse's atmosphere actually extends quite a bit out. And in fact, around 4 AU, or 4 times the distance between the Earth and the Sun, and in fact, a little bit more than that. So in fact, this star that they found is in the outer envelope of the atmosphere of Betelgeuse.
Weird.
Yeah, and even weirder, this star is very young. And by young, in terms of age, it is still the same as 10 million years. They were both formed together. But when we say that there is a star, one of the definition astronomers use is something called that, that a main sequence. And what that means is that at its center, at its core, there is hydrogen fusion going on. So that's the beginning of a star. If you don't have hydrogen fusion going on, then we say, well, it's a pre-main sequence star, or it's about to become a star. Now, Betelgeuse itself is at the end stage of its life, even though it's 10 million years old. This particular star is about the mass of our sun. It's a little bit bigger than that. And it has not started hydrogen fusion yet.
Wow.
And so it is what is called it is in the process of being ignited as a star. Right now, its brightness is coming from gravity, and it's also coming from, there is another way, there's an isotope of hydrogen, deuterium. That its fusion can happen, but not hydrogen fusion. So you have this 2 ends of lives of stars. One is the end stage, which Betelgeuse is at, and one is the beginning stage, which this companion star is about to reach.
It's like Michael Keaton and Jenna Ortega.
That's right. That's exactly right. So you have 2 ends of that, and so it is, I think it's interesting that they have found this companion star, but there is a sad story to that as well.
Uh-oh.
Because it's likely, because it is in the outer parts of basically it's inside the envelope of Betelgeuse, in the outer parts. It comes close to it. It is likely that it's going to get gobbled up by Betelgeuse in the next 10,000 years.
When Betelgeuse goes supernova.
Well, so either it's going to be blasted away by the supernova, or it's just going to get absorbed by the bigger star. And this actually, for people who are wondering, wait a minute, why Betelgeuse has gotten to the end stage so quickly and this stage hasn't? Because one of the key things in astronomy that we learned over the period of time is that bigger stars, the bigger a star is in terms of mass, the quickly it spends its life. Meaning to say, bigger stars live shorter lives, smaller stars live longer lives. And so the smallest stars in the universe, in fact, are going to live for tens of billions of years. Whereas these most massive stars, which end with dramatic life, a dramatic explosion, they live very short. They live only tens of millions of years. And so you have sort of these, and this is a great example of the case where the star that is 15 times or 20 times as massive as our sun is about to end its life in 10 million years, with the star a little bit bigger than our sun, close to, or sort of is comparable to our mass, has not even started living yet.
Wow. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Better to burn out than it is to fade. Any cliches you want to insert here, it's living its best life at Betelgeuse and Betelgeuse 2, 600 light years away.
That's right. It's a cliched star. And if you're looking for a name for it, because you have been saying Betelgeuse 2, well, so it was given sort of when people were looking for this companion, they'd call sort of Beetle Buddy. Because they knew it's going to be smaller, right? But the paper that came out, it actually, towards the end of the paper, they actually suggest a name. And I think that's actually kind of cool, because they said that Betelgeuse was Betelgeuse, but it was coming from a Latin translation of an Arabic name. And in Arabic, the name actually, there is a whole story to that, because it was there was a spelling mistake in Latin, and so it became a beetle rather than eagle. So it was sort of Elgis was the name, and it was the hand of the giant. And the giant is the Orion, and the giant was a woman, feminine in Arabic. And so what they have suggested is that this star, which is the hand of the giant, has a bracelet. And so they called it that, the authors have suggested that perhaps the name of this companion star should be Seviraha, which is bracelet in Arabic. So I think it's kind of cool, because you actually get a little bit more sort of multicultural stuff. I hope it is still allowed in the US, but still it will be cool to learn another language and to know that stars and other knowledge actually doesn't have national boundaries. It actually goes across culture and time.
And next time we talk, we'll have a preview of something that you and Kainaat Studios are doing that will unite the globe around the stars, or in this case, the moon.
All I want to say is that one of their taglines is 6 billion people, one eclipse. More on that next time we chat.